mention whether you're going to use an inspection checklist. Yes, you can use a general inspection checklist, or you can tailor it to the requirements if it is required. And then follow-up arrangements will be development of an action plan. So you'll develop an action plan, put the actions, put the responsible person, the target date, and the follow-up or verification. So this is how you develop a inspection system. Okay, moving onwards. In groups, list topics, headings that should be included in an inspection checklist for use in your workplace. Okay. Now, guys, I'm going to come to you now. So can anybody tell me, can anybody share what items they will use on an inspection checklist of their workplace? Any comments, guys? So let's say anybody from construction sector. Does anybody work on a construction site?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's say Irshad. Irshad,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me what items will you put on a inspection checklist for your project or your workplace?
Sir, there is checklist, standard checklist.
Okay, so what should be on that standard checklist? What items should be there?
Like, let's say if we are doing an inspection of any vehicles, equipments.
Okay.
So there is a items like seat belt.
Seat belt, yes.
Yeah.
Checking
brake,
the lights, brakes,
wipers, lights.
yes.
Leakage of oil leakage.
Very good.
Engine leakage and tires.
Exactly. Good, good. So these are all the things that you will include on your checklist. Okay. So all the items that you need to verify are working or not, they should be included on your checklist. Now, let's say you are going into a warehouse, okay, or a store. What will you put on your checklist in a store?
Housekeeping.
Yes, you need to check good housekeeping or not. Check
stock
the
maintenance.
Material stock maintenance. You need to make sure that they have a proper inventory available.
And PPE.
Make sure that they are wearing PPE. Very good.
What else?
Emergency exit,
emergency exits, emergency lighting,
and fire
extinguishers, availability of fire alarm. Okay, make sure that the walkways are unobstructed. Okay, make sure that there is a segregation of forklift truck and pedestrian routes. So all of these are the things that you will include on your checklist for a warehouse. Similarly, if you go into a chemical store, okay, what will you include in your inspection for a chemical store? For a chemical store, you will make sure that there is adequate temperature controlled, air conditioning is installed, ventilation is installed, spill kits are available, storage system is available or not, whether the temperature is controlled or not, material safety data sheets are available or not, and incompatible chemicals are stored separately, the people are trained. So these are all the things that you will include in an inspection of a chemical storage. Okay. So similarly, you can think of the topics and headings that you will, check in your inspection. There are many different types, and we need to just understand that in a checklist, we will need to include all the mandatory requirements, all the mandatory requirements in the workplace. We will include it in a checklist. Okay, moving on now. So yeah, normally in a generic inspection checklist, what will you include? Normally in a workplace, you will include fire safety. Obviously, you will include firefighting. You will check that there is a fire extinguisher or other firefighting means in place. You will make sure that the fire exits are available. The fire exit must always be open. They can never be locked. So you will put that in your inspection checklist. In terms of fire safety, you will also make sure that there is proper methodology for raising a fire alarm. So people should be familiar on how to raise a fire alarm. You will also check that the emergency or fire exits, they are unobstructed. The fire extinguishers, they should not be hidden behind storage material or other equipment, other material. So the fire extinguisher, they must be visible, they must be in good condition. So all of these things you will include in a generic inspection checklist related to fire safety. Then you will check housekeeping as well. You'll make sure that the different materials or objects or tools are not lying around in the workplace. You'll make sure that the cables are properly managed. They should not be going across walkways. You will make sure that the walkways are clear, they are unobstructed. Any material which is stored, it is stored properly in proper stacks. Then you'll consider environmental issues in your workplace. You'll check about the temperature, whether it is within the limits. It should not be too high, neither should it be too low. You will check the noise if it's to an acceptable level. You'll check the light, ventilation. So all these environmental issues you will include. Then traffic routes. Make sure that the traffic routes, they don't pass through areas where there is too many people passing. You'll make sure that there is adequate segregation between pedestrians, the people on foot, and the vehicles. Because if you do not segregate, or if you do not separate the pedestrian and traffic and the traffic routes, then it can be very dangerous because there can be collision. Then you will check about chemical safety in the workplace. Are the chemicals stored properly? Do they have material safety data sheets, etc.? Then machinery safety. Is the machinery in good working condition? Are there any leakages? Is the machinery inspected properly? Then you will include items for electrical safety. Are the electrical items in good condition? Are any cables broken or damaged or not? Then you will check about welfare facilities. Are there toilets available? Is there drinking water available? Is the mess hall provided or not? So these are general, what you call it, items that you can include in a generic workplace inspection checklist. Okay, so those were active monitoring techniques. Now we have reactive monitoring. Reactive monitoring, reactive monitoring can be of various types as well. Most common methodology of reactive monitoring is by looking at accidents, ill health data, and unwanted events in the workplace. Okay. Just let me give one message to the guys. I'm sorry. Just 1 second. Okay, so reactive monitoring is related to accidents, incidents, ill health, and other unwanted events or situations. Okay, so basically, reactive monitoring, it is used to highlight what are the areas of concern. So it will help you identify what are the major areas of concern that are contributing to the accidents. So you will get to know what are the various kinds of accidents happening, what are the most common causes of accidents, okay? And then you can understand how things are happening and what is causing those accidents, okay? And how you can improve on this, okay? So basically, reactive monitoring, it highlights the areas of concern, and it can be done for things that have already gone wrong. Okay, and it measures failure as well. So basically, there are two common methods of reactive monitoring: learning from lessons from an accident or an what you call it incident which has taken place, and analysis of the data you have collected related to the accidents. Okay, so you gather all the data, you carry out trend analysis. For example, there are too many accidents happening in the working at height or on the scaffolding. Okay, it means that you have some flaws or some issues with related to working at height. Maybe your people are not properly trained. Maybe your scaffolding is not erected properly. So this will help you analyze it. Okay, so these two methods are most commonly used: learning lessons from previous accidents and analyzing the data that you have collected over a period of time. Okay, sorry. Now, basically, reactive monitoring, it is carried out on the data that you have collected. So basically, you collect data about accidents. You can get data on how many accidents are happening in your workplace. You can also collect data on where are the accidents happening, in which area are the accidents happening. So you can focus on that area. You can also understand in which activity most of the accidents are happening, so you can focus on that activity. Also, the accident data, it will tell you what age group. Okay, what is the age group that is causing most accidents. Okay, what is the time of the day in which most accidents are happening. So this will give you hints and clues. So when you analyze all of this, when you put all this information into graphs or bar charts, it will identify the trends. So when you look at those trends, you can highlight those trends and you can take actions to address those trends. For example, most of the accidents are being caused by young workers below the age of 25. Okay, so that information you will only get from trend analysis. When you do a trend analysis for age, you will be able to find out that the young workers are causing more accidents. So you can take actions to address that problem. You will give more training to the youngsters, or you will not allow the youngsters to work unsupervised. So these are actions that you will take to control those accidents. So similarly, there are other trends as well. There is other information you will get from the trend analysis. So you can take actions to prevent those accidents. Okay, then there are dangerous occurrences which you can monitor as well. If there is a dangerous occurrence, for example, there is a fire in the workplace, okay, or if there is a major near miss, or if there is a gas leakage. So whatever the dangerous occurrence is, you can monitor the nature of the dangerous occurrences, where they are happening mostly, what time of the day they are happening mostly, and then that will help you in order to control those dangerous occurrences. Similarly, you can collect data about near misses, about ill health cases, about worker complaints. Workers might have various complaints related to food, related to their living conditions, related to the temperature, or related to the other resources that they have been provided, and you can address those issues. Also, you can analyze the enforcement action data as well. Enforcement actions are the actions that you receive from the government authorities, from the legal bodies. For example, OSHAD, they will issue you a notice, it will have an enforcement action. So all of these are the things that you can analyze and you can work on them. So this basically, it helps you in analyzing the trends which happen over a period of time, and it will help you identify the patterns or the hotspots of certain types of injuries. Okay, so this is how we carry out reactive monitoring, and this is what the benefit is. Okay. Another way of monitoring is carrying out frequency rate analysis. Okay, So you determine the lost time accident frequency rate. This will tell you how frequently the lost time accidents are happening. So in order to find that out, we'll consider what is a lost time accident. A lost time accident or a lost time injury is an accident or an injury in which the person he misses at least one working day. So if somebody misses at least one working day after an accident takes place, that is called a lost time accident. So if you determine lost time accident frequency rates, it will give you an idea of how frequently the accidents are happening. Okay, it will help you understand how frequently the accidents are happening and what kind of actions can you take. Near miss monitoring, it is usually considered reactive because near miss is an incident, and obviously it hasn't caused any damage. Okay, but you will still consider near misses in reactive monitoring because something has happened. Okay, so basically, how do you calculate lost time accident frequency rate? Lost time accident frequency rate is calculated by multiplying the total number of lost time accidents by 100,000 and then dividing it by the total number of hours worked in that period. So this will give you the number of accidents happening per 100,000 man hours. But if you multiply it by 1 million, okay, that will give you an idea of how many accidents are happening per million man hours. Okay, this 100,000 or 1 million, this is only a multiplication factor. Okay, so this will only give you a multiplication factor, and this whatever figure is over here in this this multiplication factor, this will help you express the frequency. So in this case, we are expressing frequency per 100,000 man hours. Okay, but if you multiply it by 1 million, just add one more zero here. Okay, this becomes 1 million. So this will give us the lost time accident frequency rate, lost time accident frequency per million man hours. Okay, in UAE we use per million man hours. In other countries it is different. In OSHA in USA they use 200,000 as well. So this is basically just to represent the frequency of the accidents. Okay, 4.2 incident investigation, recording and reporting. So investigation, recording and reporting is also very, very important. Now, there are various reasons for investigating accidents, and this is a very, very important topic, guys. You must remember this. Investigating accidents is very, very important, and we need to make sure that we investigate all accidents in the workplace. It is a legal requirement to investigate all incidents that occur in your workplace. What are the reasons for investigation? Number one, the most important reason for investigating incidents is to identify the immediate and the root causes. It will help us identify what are the causes, and it will help us take actions to address those immediate and root causes. What will happen? So once we identify an immediate and root cause, we can take actions to prevent the recurrence of accidents. So this is the most important reason. This is the most important purpose of carrying out the investigation. It is to prevent recurrence. Okay, so preventing recurrence is very, very important. It is very, very important, and we must. So preventing recurrence is very, very important. It will help us. Sorry. So preventing recurrence, it will help us. Investigation will help us prevent the recurrence of the incidents. Okay, then there are legal reasons for managing incidents. It will also help us collect the Sorry guys, I'm just having a little trouble here. So first of all, the most important reasons for investigating accidents or incidents is that it will help us identify the immediate and root causes. It will help us prevent the recurrence of the accidents. This is very, very important. If an accident happens, okay, that does not show poor performance, that does not show poor health and safety performance. But if that same incident happens again and again and again, that shows poor health and safety culture, and that shows poor health and safety performance. Okay, so a good organization should be able to investigate incidents, identify the root causes, and prevent recurrence of the incidents. This is very, very important. This is the most important reason for investigating as incidents, is to prevent the recurrence. That is the reason why we carry out investigation. Investigation also helps us collect and record evidence. So we will be able to identify what is the evidence that we have gathered as part of the investigation, and how we have drawn the conclusions, and how we have identified the causes. So it will help us collect and record the evidence. And obviously there are certain legal reasons as well. Legally, we are required to investigate all incidents. This is a legal requirement in the UAE. Obviously, for insurance purposes as well, it will help us fulfill the insurance purposes. Now, what happens if an incident happens? If you keep on getting the same accidents again and again, your insurance premiums, it will go up. Okay, your insurance premiums, they will go up, and you will have to pay more premium every year. But if you investigate accidents properly, and you can demonstrate to the insurance company that you have investigated it properly and you are taking proper actions to prevent the reoccurrence, it will help you keep your insurance premiums down. Okay, so you need to keep your insurance premiums down, and you can only do that by investigating and reporting and investigating incidents properly. Another very important reason for investigating incidents, it raises the staff morale. Okay, it raises the morale of the staff. What happens after an incident if your co-worker, he has a road safety accident or any accident in the workplace, and he loses his arm, or he loses his leg? How will you feel? You will feel very, very let down. You will feel that the organization, they are not caring about you, they do not give you any importance, and it will lower your morale. Now, in order to demonstrate that the organization is committed towards the health and safety of the people, the organization must carry out the investigation in order to raise the morale. It will show the workers that the organization cares for the workers. So in order to raise morale, investigations are very, very important. Another reason for investigating incidents could be disciplinary purposes. There could be a violation, or the accident could have happened due to somebody's negligence. It could have happened because of somebody's deliberate mistake. Okay, so investigation, it will help you identify that deliberate mistake, and it will help you take disciplinary action. So you can investigate accident for disciplinary actions as well. And finally, it helps in data gathering as well. So if you have a lot of data related to accidents, again, as we discussed, it can help you analyze the trends. You can identify the trends of accidents that are happening, and then you can take actions to address those trends. So guys, this is the reasons for investigating accident. And this is very, very important, guys. It is very, very important to remember. Okay, there are common types of accidents. Most commonly, the incidents, they are divided into 4 different categories. There are accidents near misses, and dangerous occurrence. Okay, so an accident basically an accident, it is, let me check the question. Yes, data gathering helps the growth of organization. It does do that, because if you have a lot of data related to accidents, you can analyze that data and you can make sure that actions are taken in order to address the issues. It can address the what you call it, problems. So basically, the types of incidents, sorry, let me just give you the definition of an incident before. Now, an incident, it is any unplanned or unwanted event which either leads to damage or could have led to damage. Okay, if the incident leads to damage, it is called an accident. If the incident does not lead to any damage, it is called a near miss. Okay, this is very, very important to remember. Okay, so if there is any incident in the workplace, okay, you will decide whether there is any damage or not. Okay, if there is any damage, if damage is there, yes, it becomes an accident. If there is no damage, it becomes a near miss. Okay, so both of these, accidents and near misses, both are types of incident. Okay, an accident and a near miss, both are types of incidents. Now, if there is any damage after an event takes place, after an incident happens, we call it an accident. If there is no damage, we call it a near miss. Okay, for example, there is a person standing under suspended load. Okay, so let's say there is, let me go back. So let's say there is a load placed over here. Okay, and there is a person stranded underneath it. Now, if this load falls, okay, this is called an incident. Now, this could result in two different situations. The load could fall on the ground right next to the person and cause him no injury. Okay, it will be called a near miss. Or the load could fall on the person's head and he will get a fractured skull or bleeding or any other kind of injury. So in this case, in which he gets an injury, it is called an accident, and in which the load lands right next to him but there is no injury, it is called a near miss. Okay, so if a person is standing under suspended load and the load falls right next to him and he is not injured at all, there is no damage, then it is called a near miss. But if that load falls on the person's head and he gets an injury or he gets concussion or any kind of other damage, that is called an accident. Both of these, accident and near miss, both are incidents. So an incident is any event which either leads to damage or could have led to damage. So incident is any occurrence, any kind of occurrence. Okay, now there's another definition which is called a dangerous occurrence. A dangerous occurrence is also an incident. Okay, it could be either an accident or it could be a near miss, but a dangerous occurrence is something that you have to report to the government authorities. Okay, you have to report dangerous occurrence to the government. If you don't report it to the government, then you will be in non-compliance with the law. Okay, So dangerous occurrences are those incidents which must be reported to the government, and they are defined. For example, fire. Every fire has to be reported to the legal authorities. Okay, a gas leakage. Every gas leakage has to be reported to the government authorities. Okay, any crane collapse, any collapse of scaffolding. So all these are dangerous occurrences. Now these dangerous occurrences, they might be accidents or there could be near misses. It doesn't matter whether it is damage or no damage in a dangerous occurrence. You must report it. Okay, and then finally there are work related ill health cases. For example, you might have a situation in which a person is not injured but he gets ill health. For example, if you are exposed to asbestos, asbestos will not cause you any physical injury. It will not cause you a broken leg or a broken arm or any other physical injury. It will cause a disease. It will cause a disease which is called asbestosis or lung cancer. So if you get work related illnesses, those are also incidents. Okay. So these are the various types of incidents that must be investigated and reported as well. Okay, so moving on. So these are the definitions. An unplanned, unwanted event which leads to injury, damage, or loss is called an accident. Then there could be an injury accident or a damage only accident. An injury accident is where the unplanned, unwanted event leads to some sort of personal injury, for example, a cut hand, and damage only accident where the unplanned, unwanted event leads to the equipment or property damage, but there is no personal injury. For example, a wall is demolished. A near miss is basically an unplanned, unwanted event that had the potential to lead to an injury, damage, or loss, but did not actually do so. So this is a near miss, definition of a near miss. Okay, dangerous occurrence is a specified event that has to be reported to the relevant authority by statute law. For example, a major gas leak, and then there is a work-related ill health, a disease or a medical condition that is directly attributable to work. For example, dermatitis or skin irritant dermatitis as well. Investigation levels, there are various levels of investigation. Once you carry out an investigation, you need to understand that the investigation has to be appropriate to the level of the incident. For example, there could be minimal investigations, low investigations, medium and high investigation. Minimal investigation is required for is usually done by the immediate line manager, and there is no excessive time or effort required. Now, for example, if there is a first aid case or a near miss or somebody gets a minor cut on the finger, that requires minimal investigation. Now, usually you must decide on the level of investigation by using a risk assessment matrix. Okay, so you will determine what is the potential outcome. Okay, for example, the example I gave you, that a person is standing under suspended load. Now, if the load had fallen on the person's head, what would have been the worst possible outcome? So you will consider the worst possible outcome and give it a risk rating, and then decide on the level of investigation. For low risks, you can do minimal to low investigations. For high risks, you need to carry out a medium or high level of investigation. Okay, so usually for minor incidents, minimal with low risk, only the immediate line manager can do the minimal investigation, and it does not require excessive time or effort. Then if there is slightly higher risk, you can increase it to low. The line manager will perhaps need some support and more time and effort will be involved. Medium, this is some serious incident. Somebody gets a broken arm or something other major injury. It's a middle manager level investigation with the support of significant time and effort will be required as well. Then if there is a fatality, if somebody dies or there was a possibility that somebody could seriously been injured or somebody could have been died, then you need senior management oversight and a team-based approach to carry out the investigation. Okay, discuss the first thing you will do when arriving at an accident scene. Guys, I think let's take a small break. We'll discuss this after the break because we have covered majority of the contents here. So let's take a break for 15 minutes and we'll be back by 4:05. Okay. So we will be back in 15 minutes, guys. Okay. See you after the break.